JANZZ.technology, the podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome back and Happy New Year! This 2025, we will continue diving into the world of labor markets, technology, and innovation. I'm your host, Laura Flamarich, and as always, I'm thrilled to explore today's topic, a fascinating intersection of family, education, and careers in the modern workforce. To frame our discussion, I'd like to mention our last research paper titled Shaping the Future: The Influence of Family on Children's Education and Career Choices in Indonesia. This study dives into how deeply family dynamics, social norms, and education systems shape career paths. Joining me to unpack these themes is Hesti Aryani. Hesti is not just our business development manager for Indonesia at JANZZ, but also an expert on labor market information systems that bridge the gap between job seekers and employers. And, like me, she's also a mom raising a daughter. Hesti, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Laura. It's wonderful to be here. I'm so excited about this conversation, both as a professional and as a parent.
That's such a great starting point. Can I ask you something personal?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
As a mom, how does having a daughter influence the way you approach your work, especially when it comes to empowering young people?
Well, that is a good starting question. Having a daughter has shaped the way I think about my work, of course.
How?
Well, it gives me a very personal stake in the future we are building, something that I think about what kind of opportunities I want her to have.
For instance,
For instance, opportunities that aren't limited by, for example, social expectations or traditional norms, giving her the freedom to be anything she wants.
that's inspiring. How does family dynamics and parental influence shape the future of Indonesian children?
In Indonesia, parental influence often begins very early. Many parents see education as a direct path to economic stability. For example, families might encourage children to pursue careers in the fields that they perceive as stable, such as civil service, government officials, teaching, or law enforcement, sometimes even without considering the child's interest or potentials, or by considering the changing job market.
I see. Hesti, seeing how far you have come, how was your own experience growing up in Indonesia?
Well, I grew up in a society where traditional Javanese culture was still deeply rooted, actually, much like what it is described in the paper, along with all those social expectations. Expectations that women were more into domestic roles and were expected to be married before the age of 25, that women should pursue not too high education because they said we women would eventually end up in the kitchen and serve the family, something like that. Uh, but despite coming from a religious family in my hometown, Pekalongan, Central Java, I was actually fortunate enough that my parents allowed me the freedom to shape my own path. Although they didn't pursue higher education, they were incredibly forward thinking and open minded.
This is wonderful. What did they do for a living?
My father used to be a local businessman, a very hardworking, ambitious, and deeply committed person. He is also the one encouraged me to excel in my studies, particularly in learning English, a language he didn't understand himself. But I believe he saw me as his last hope in the family and a chance to invest in education, hoping it would lead to a higher level of achievement and obviously a better life in the future. So, as the youngest in the family, my childhood was filled with extracurricular activities that kept me busy all the time.
That's quite incredible, I must say. It sounds like your father had a clear vision for your future, even without fully understanding the tools he encouraged you to pursue. And what about your mom?
My mom was a teacher at a local primary school, and I remember she used to take me to her classrooms because I couldn't be left alone at home, of course. So I would sit quietly in the corner, just watching her teaching. And then looking back to it, I think that really inspired me that I wanted to be like her. And eventually, I did become a language teacher at some universities for over a decade, which was such a rewarding experience.
That's such a beautiful memory, Hesti. It's no wonder those early experiences had such a profound impact on your career path.
Yes, indeed. But life has its twists and turns. And along the way, I switched my career out of academia into a corporate life, which is a completely different world to where it all started.
What a journey. What motivated you to step away from academia and venture into the corporate world?
To be honest, it left me no choice. In my case, it was just neither a fixed term nor a permanent contract being offered on the table. Some issues of underpaid, lack of appreciation, and some other thing which made me obviously anxious about my future with all of those uncertainties. So I worked partially in the education business as a consultant and specializing in recruiting and training teachers back in Indonesia. And then I had short-term teaching position here in Zurich right before the pandemic. And eventually I challenged myself to try and get out from my comfort zone and learn something new by joining the IT industry, which is what I've been doing now at JANZZ.technology.
Very good. And I'm so glad you did.
Thank you.
Could you tell us more about your current role and its connection to your background?
My current work focuses on developing semantic based AI for the labor market. In a way, it feels like a mixture of all my past experiences, my education background as a linguist and teacher, combined with my years of working in managerial roles within the labor market sector. So it's been a fascinating journey, I would say.
Absolutely. It sounds like your journey is a perfect example of how important it is to stay adaptable.
Exactly. Adaptable. I believe it highlights the importance of unlocking one of the most critical skills of this century, right? Agility and adaptability. In today's ever changing world, those qualities are more essential than ever.
So true. Hesti, I know you still give some lectures from time to time. Given the current situation that students face, how do you encourage them in finding opportunities in today's workforce?
Well, the job market in Indonesia is challenging right now. The unemployment rate is still high, with limited job vacancies and a lot of competition. However, I always encourage my students to stay adaptive. You know, the labor market constantly evolves, so I advise them to stay open to further education, explore new fields, and develop diverse skills. It's about helping them discover opportunities that truly align with their potential and preparing them to thrive in an ever changing environment.
That's such an important balance to strike.
It really is because, it's never been taught in the classroom or it's never been in the curriculum. It's about creating an environment where the next generation can explore, thrive, and succeed on their own terms.
That's amazing. How does JANZZ technology align with and support this mission?
As you know, we are living in a digitalized world. We should not forget how technology plays a significant role in shaping our future. Our labor market tools help provide data driven insights to show society, like families, students, and job seekers, the full spectrum of opportunities available, including those in emerging sectors like technology, digital marketing, and creative industries.
That's fascinating. It highlights how societal shifts are paving the way for unconventional career paths for Generation Z. However, Do you find that families are resistant to embracing these exciting new opportunities?
Oh, definitely. Many families still view these newer careers with skepticism, often because they don't fully understand them. For instance, careers like content creator or digital marketer are not seen as prestigious as traditional roles like doctors or civil servants.
I see.
And there is even more, Laura. Remote work, for example, is very often misunderstood.
Really?
Oh, yeah. In the village, for example, many families struggle to understand how someone can be working in front of a computer all day long without leaving the house. To them, working from home is perceived as unemployment rather than a legitimate career option. For certain societies, it is hard to understand that work can be done remotely just in front of your screen. That is why part of our work involves educating not only job seekers but also their families about how the labor market today is evolving. AI tools can map how skills from traditional education are able to translate into these modern roles, which helps alleviate family concerns.
That's insightful. Speaking about rural areas, how does GEMS technology address migration?
Migration. It is a big thing in Indonesia. Many young people leave rural areas because they see big cities as the only places with opportunities. But this often leads to underemployment or skills education mismatch because the urban job market can't absorb everyone. Our artificial intelligence systems are designed to highlight local job opportunities by connecting job seekers with nearby employers who might otherwise be unaware of their skills.
That is a great approach. On a slightly different note, does gender play a role in shaping career trajectories?
Oh, yeah, of course. Gender plays a huge role. Well, traditionally, women in Indonesia have faced social expectations to prioritize family over career, especially in rural areas, at least in my understanding. This often limits their participation in the labor market or confines them to specific roles. In my case, for example, it was actually not well received at the beginning that I was going abroad.
How come?
Well, pretty classic reasons. Because I am a woman. They were afraid of having me work in a certain foreign environment. There is also a lot of stigma around women working abroad, with families often worried about the dangers they might face. In Indonesia, there is still this cultural stereotype that limits opportunities for women, unfortunately, and especially when it comes to being migrant workers. This includes concerns about potential risk of trafficking, exploitation, and other issues that need to be addressed.
Hmm. Do you know what can be done in order to promote equal opportunities?
Well, it is still a huge homework for all of us, but at least at JANZZ.technology, we are actively working to break stereotypes by offering tools that promote transparency and equal employment opportunities, such as anonymous application processes, which helps reduce bias and ensures that candidates are judged purely on their skills and qualifications.
Nowadays, women often face unconscious bias in hiring, but it's not just about getting the job, right? It's also about making workplaces more adaptable to women's unique needs, especially for working mothers.
Exactly, Laura. Well, you know very well how challenging could it be for us, right? At JANS, we also support women and working mothers by facilitating flexibility in working hours, creating a company culture that values their contributions while allowing them to balance their professional and personal lives. It is something I deeply appreciate as a mother myself. And it's actually the value I hope more companies in Indonesia will adopt.
In the end, supporting women is not just good for the women themselves, right?
Right, exactly. Women's participation in the labor market is crucial, especially in developing countries like Indonesia. If women are given equal access to flexible, meaningful work, it could significantly boost the economy while empowering families and communities. This is a vision I'm passionate about and I want to bring to Indonesia, creating systems and opportunities that make it easier for women to thrive in their careers without having to sacrifice their other responsibilities.
Well said. Hesti, with AI being such a transformative tool, how do you ensure it remains inclusive and doesn't exacerbate existing inequalities?
Inclusivity is a key principle in our AI design. One way we achieve this is by integrating local context in our system. We also ensure that our algorithms don't favor certain demographics, religion, ethnicities, gender, or job seekers with special needs over others by using diverse data sets to train the models. The goal is, after all, to create a system that works for everyone.
That's crucial. How do you think AI will continue to shape the future?
Well, AI has a huge potential to transform the future of work in Indonesia, especially by making labor market system more inclusive and accessible. It can help bridge gaps in education, identify skills gaps, and match job seekers with the right opportunities based on their abilities, not just their credentials. With artificial intelligence, we can personalize career pathways, allowing individuals to navigate the ever changing job market more efficiently. And additionally, AI will also play a key role in shaping industries like technology, agriculture, and healthcare, unlocking new career possibilities and driving economic growth. Meanwhile, the challenge, of course, is ensuring that AI tools are accessible and tailored to local context, and most importantly, that are fully compliant to AI ethics.
That's such an inspiring vision. Hesti, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your incredible work. It's clear that your efforts are shaping a brighter future, not just for Indonesia, but for all developing nations navigating the challenges of digital economy.
Thank you, Laura. I really enjoyed our time today. It's been a pleasure to share this space with you. And here is to building a future where next generations can dream big and achieve even bigger.
Well said. Thanks again for joining us. And to all our listeners, if you are interested in reading our last research paper, Shaping the Future, the influence of family on children's education and career choices in Indonesia, you will find the link in the podcast description. Thank you for listening and goodbye.